And I'm going to ask Councilman Stoffer if he will give the invocation, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you all stand.
All right, let's go ahead and pray. Lord, you thank you for many blessings. We thank you for this wonderful city, Niceville. We thank you for the wonderful county and state, country that we live in. Lord, we just ask that you continue to bless each one of those entities, Lord, in a very special way. Thank you for each employee, Lord, each city council member, everybody that helps around here, and Lord, even the decorating of Christmas, Lord. What a beautiful, beautiful place that we are able to come and enjoy right before having a meeting. We just pray that you would help everybody that presents themselves before the council tonight, that they would do everything that's decent and in order, Lord, according to your will, and present themselves in a way that is respectful and loving, as you would expect each one of us to reciprocate. Lord, pray for this meeting. Have your will and way. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll do a roll call real quick. Mr. Stoffer.
Here.
Mr. Donahue.
Here.
Miss Alley.
Here.
Mr. Schatzel.
Here.
And Mr. Najumi.
Here.
Let the record reflect the entire council is here tonight, along with our ever-present council in the form of Steve Hall. All right, let's move down to the approval of the agenda for tonight. Do we have any additions or deletions on the agenda for tonight? Go ahead, Mr. Schatzel.
Mayor, I have a question, and maybe Mr. Dykes can answer this. In previous agendas, we always had the meeting minutes from the previous planning commission, and this is not listed here on the planning commission. Are we changing that now?
You have the action of the planning commission in your staff report for each item that went to them, but I did not include their minutes.
I didn't even see them published yet. Have they been published?
I believe I did get those 2 days ago. Yeah. But the action that the planning commission took on each of the items is included in that staff report.
Okay, so then in the future, we would expect the planning commission to approve in January. They'll approve their own December meeting minutes, and we'll
Yes.
approve their meeting minutes in January also for the month of December.
You're going to approve the planning council's, you approve the planning council's meeting minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It always had been on the agenda before. Planning council meeting minutes. That's correct.
Okay.
Well, give it some thought, maybe.
Will do, yes, sir.
All right. Again, going back to the additions or deletions to tonight's agenda. Appears not, so let's move down to the consent agenda. We have the approval of minutes from November 12, 2024 City Council meeting, approval of the Village Oaks Point plat, and bills payable, no attachments. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion by the council? All right.
Mayor, excuse me a second. Are we going to go through the approval of the Village Oak Point plat later on in our agenda, our book?
No, sir, you just approved it.
Well, we didn't vote on it yet, but my question is, are we asked to vote on something that, if you look at the plat, there's no signatures on it at all? It's just like a CAD drawing with the certification blocks for different people who were the engineers and the approvals and everything else. So is this the way that we approve plats?
I do have a Mylar for signatures that has been prepared, but we can't put that in your electronic agenda packet. Is that what you're?
Yeah, we're approving something that hasn't even been signed off by the engineering, the staff for the.
I have the signed Mylar by everybody, the actual plastic Mylar
Yes, sir, it's a big plastic sheet with what you're looking at, but it's on a big plastic sheet.
I would put it in your packet for approval if it had not been signed off on, by everybody.
Okay, so, council, is this a appropriate way of us approving something that we haven't seen? Such, I'll sign off?
You saw the development order for this development. You approved, the planning commission and you approved the development order, and the plat really is, after a development order is kind of almost perfunctory. You can't really deny a plat after you've approved the development order. The plat is just a recordation process.
And you put it in here with appropriate signatures, this is just a depiction of.
Yeah, that's what's on the plat, but I do have all the signatures, and we'll be getting, if you move approval, then the city manager will sign the plat. But they do need to go on a public agenda, on a council agenda, that's required of statute. So that's why you have it there. It's been thoroughly reviewed, it's consistent with the development order. I did request some changes to the plat based on what needed to be shown on there from an engineering basis. And our surveyor reviewed the plat, our contract surveyor, and also recommended some changes. So it's in good shape at this point, and ready for approval.
Bill, why don't you pull it out of the consent agenda so they can talk about it during the meeting?
You can do that,
You
yeah.
can just pull it out of the consent agenda.
You don't have to pull it out of the
Yeah.
folder, sir, just say you would like to
Remove it.
withdraw it from the consent agenda for further discussion later in this meeting.
Okay. I didn't make the initial motion to approve or second, so maybe the person who made the second should retract them, and the person who made the motion to approve should amend it.
I'll go get the Mylar if you want to see that. I could do that if you
Well,
want
it
to.
still should come out of the consent agenda so that we can discuss it later in the
Yeah.
meeting.
If you want to.
So, in this case, Wendy, we had, was it
I have
Councilman
motions.
Newman, you made the motion, and Donahue, I think, seconded. So the request, I think, from Councilman Schatzel is that, would you renounce your second
I
and,
renounce my second.
I'll restate my motion to approve the consent agenda minus item C2.
and you second it, all right. All right,
I think that solves the initial question I have. Thank you.
all right. Any other discussion or questions referencing the consent? If not, Mr. Stopper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes,
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
All right, let's move down to item D, which is something I get to do, and that is the awards, proclamations, and presentations.
do you want
And-
to see now instead of that?
Yeah, do you really want to do it just right now? You wanna-
Or just be a minute?
Okay, let's do it, let's do it.
Councilwoman Al, I'd like to pause, because Kristen went to get the Mylars.
Oh, okay,
So let me do what I want to do.
okay.
You the mayor.
Yeah. Every now and then, I get to do something because I want to do it. Let's pull this box open here. Wow. This looks pretty impressive. We've had an individual that has served our community for a number of years. And I'm going to ask Dan Doucette to come up here. Dan Doucette has been one of our mainstays here at the city of Niceville, and he has decided, I think because his wife put the pressure on him, but I could be wrong, he has decided to finally hang it up and do that retiring thing. And so we want to recognize you, Dan, for all the years of service you've provided. Thank you, sir. And we actually got this little memento, you can hang on I love me wall. It says, in honor of your retirement, we present to Daniel J. Doucette in appreciation and gratitude for 31 years of dedicated public service from August 1993 to December 2024. This plaque recognizing your retirement. Beautiful. Thanks, sir. Amen. Good deal. Again, give them another round of applause. Dan, just in case you don't want to get that thing cracked and dusted and whatever else, we'll even give you this box and all the bubble wrap that goes with it. Thank you very much. Okay, she's back. Let's go back to item C2, the Village Oaks Point plat. Kristen, you want to come to the mic, bring your documents and so forth, and you want to at least talk about a little bit about what's taken place to this point in time?
I truly don't like handling these that much, but, here's your signature, I think that you're looking for.
Yeah, don't touch. Look, but don't touch.
So,
Go ahead and pull that mic up so close so everybody can hear you.
yeah, I apologize if this is not how this normally goes. I'm not used to plants being a big decision point because you've already approved the development. So the development came through the technical review committee, the planning commission, and then to you for approval. And the plat really is the recordation of the subdivision of the lots. So once you've approved the development, the plat is almost like
The term is ministerial.
ministerial
That's the
act, yeah,
classification.
right. It's a done deal, that's a good way to say it, after the development's been approved. So you technically really would not want to not approve a plat after the development's been approved.
Okay, thank you for that explanation, but it just surprised me that in our book, if you had this, what do you call this document here, the paper?
Mylar,
And it was reduced once to the size, and then that was put in our books without signatures, and yet you have all the signatures. So you confirm you have the signatures, I was just questioning the processing.
next time we'll see if we can figure out how to get a copy with the signatures, because it's technically not supposed to be copied until all of the signatures are on the plat. And so, it's incomplete at this point, but what the picture that you have is the configuration of the lots and what is on the plat.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to take this away before I put my phone?
So since we pulled it out of the consent agenda for approval, we now need to make a motion to approve the Village Oaks Point plat. Do I have a motion to do that?
Also move that we approve it.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
And second by Ms. Alley. Any further discussion? Mr. Najumi, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
And of course, Mr. Stopper.
Yes.
All right. Let's move down to the ordinance number 24-1201 on first reading.
Yes, sir. Good evening, council. This is a rezoning application submitted by Lisa Rung requesting an amendment of the official zoning map found within the Land Development Code to change the zoning district for a property from single-family residential to multi-family residential, and to change the future land map found within the comprehensive plan from low-density residential category to a medium-density residential category. The property is 0.17 plus or minus acres and is located at the south of Bat Street at 414 North Cedar Avenue and is identified by parcel number ID 06-1S-22-1590-0008-0240.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
And second by Mr. Najumian. Discussion by the council.
Yes, Mayor, I have, the ordinance that is in our book was obviously prepared as this was in a continuance last month, because it says that the city council on November 12th held an advertised meeting and the first reading of the proposed ordinance, and then it continues on that the final reading is December 10th. That ordinance has to be revised for the final reading, please.
Yes, sir, it will be.
That's all.
Ms. Allen?
So I have some concerns rezoning this, with single family all the way around it. Were the neighbors notified?
Yes, and this actually went to the planning commission twice because the first request didn't quite meet the density. She has an existing duplex at this site, and she wants to tear it down and rebuild it. It's in deteriorating condition. And the planning commission did vote favorably and recommended that she seek the R3 to get the appropriate density to redevelop that existing duplex.
So does R3 only allow her to build a duplex?
Her site is so small that that's all
That's not
she.
the question I asked. Does
Yeah.
R3 only allow her to build a duplex?
R3 is single and multifamily and duplexes, but because she has a small lot, she would not be able to do a multifamily apartment.
So she couldn't do a two-story fourplex?
She only has, what was her acreage? She has
Point-
0.17 acres, so she is just barely making the two at that density.
But she couldn't park it.
Right, yeah, and in the density, so she's going to 15 units per acre. I don't have it, if you take, she would only be able to get 2 units, I think is what, because she had originally asked for R2, and that wasn't gonna do it. We had to go to R3 to get the 2.
I just want to make sure that we're not approving something that then she could come back and then do a fourplex on there.
Not at 15 units per acre, she would need, much higher density. This is where the 25 discussion comes in. Right.
And without, which we would never grant the variances. That would be.
Exactly.
That's out of control.
It would be, yeah, exactly. Come back.
For the variance, if she goes up, she could meet the variance.
She can't park.
If somebody can do, 43.
2.55.
Yeah, 43,560 divided by, 0.17,
2.55.
or divided by 15, yeah.
You can't round up.
Okay, I just want to make sure before we approve this, because there's been a lot of changes to zoning and ordinances, and, you know, it's gotten very confusing on what is what right now, so I just want to make sure.
This is just a straight rezoning, nothing to do with the CRA, an applicant's request.
Okay.
Any other questions or comment, discussion by the council? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none, Mr. Najumian,
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel,
Yes.
Ms. Alley,
Yes,
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
and Mr. Stopper.
Yes,
Let's move down to ordinance 25-01-05.
Council, I recommend that this proposed ordinance be continued until next month.
Any discussion by the council on continuing this ordinance?
Do you have a reason you want to share with us?
This is an existing apartment building, and he wants to subdivide the property underneath the apartment building and sell individual units.
With the unit still standing?
Yes, with the unit still standing, and because of the issues with the military overlay, it's been recommended that he seek a PUD. So he'll need to come back with a PUD concept plan, and he's also got some issues with parking that need to be worked out. Common parking is gonna have to be resolved
Okay.
on that development order.
Short answer is not ready.
Yeah.
Got
And needs to be PUD.
Unless I hear something otherwise, we will continue this one at our next meeting.
can I ask one question? Is this where the trailers have been removed?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
All right.
All right, consider 25-01-05 continued to our next meeting. Let's move down to ordinance 25-01-04.
All right, council, this is an ordinance annexing to the city of Niceville, Florida, continuous lands described as set forth herein, providing for proper advertisement pursuant to 171.00044 Florida statutes, providing that the property will be zoned outdoor recreation and have a future land use map designation of parks and recreation, providing for an effective date and providing for severability, providing for filing with the Clerk of Court of Okaloosa County and the Department of State. The proposed annexation is located at 998 Rocky Valley Drive. It can be identified as parcel ID number 10-1S-22-2832-0BCC-Park. Council, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So,
So I have one by Ms. Alley and a second by Mr. Najumian. And now, Mr. Deitch, what would you like to say?
Thank you, sir. Council, this is the Rocky Runway Park. The county deeded it to us a number of years ago, and it was just never annexed into the city. Excuse me, as I go through puberty.
good luck with that.
It was never annexed into the city, and I'm just recommending that we annex that park into the city.
All right, any other questions?
I just have a question. How do you find that this is not annexed? I mean, if it happened so long ago, how do you find these records? Or just?
It wasn't that long ago.
It was
We just
about
happened like
20
2 years ago.
Yeah, 22.
But just never got brought before the
Yeah.
council?
Yeah.
No,
Correct.
They got brought before the council, we had approved to take that, because the county gave it to us.
Yeah, just all the work that
We
was
just
done out
never
there
had
just
paperwork.
surprises me that we would do all the work without annexing first.
Right. So to answer your question, a member of my staff brought this to my attention.
Any other discussion by the council? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none, Mr. Stopper,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Ms. Alley,
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel,
Yes.
Mr. Najumian.
Yes.
All right, let's move down to ordinance 25-0106.
All right, corrective amendment to ordinance number 24-06-05, annexing to the city of Niceville, Florida, continuous lands described as set forth herein, providing for proper advertisement pursuant to 171.044 Florida statutes, providing that the property will be zoned PUD, planned unit development, and have a future land use map designated of MDR, medium density residential, providing for an effective date and providing for severability, provided for filing with the Clerk of Court of Okaloosa County and the Department of State. The proposed annexation is located near Hudson Boyd Court and can be identified as parcel ID number 08-1S-22-0000-0025-0010 and 08-1S-22-0000-0025-0020.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Donahue. Discussion by the council. Did you want to address this, Mr. Deitch, or do you have somebody that you wanted to address this to?
Only if you have questions, council.
Any questions? Seeing that the council is mute on this, then I will ask, anybody in the audience want to come before the council on this issue? All right, Mr. Stoffer,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Ms. Alley,
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel,
Yes.
and Mr. Najumian.
Yes.
Let's move down to ordinance 25-0102.
An ordinance adopting the amended final budget changes for the city of Niceville for fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024. An ordinance adopting and approving the appropriation set forth in said budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Schatzel. Discussion by the council.
I must have lost something. Which one are we on right now?
We're on
E5.
yes, E5.
Okay, I didn't hear the word opioid settlement fund, so, okay, sorry. That's what I was listening towards.
So council, what this is, as you might recall during the budget workshops, during the aid organization conversation, an organization came forward requesting assistance, and they provide assistance to homeless and drug addicts and things of that nature. And I proposed at that time that we use our opioid litigation money and provide that money to this organization. Because for the last 3 years, we have been receiving opioid litigation settlement money. We have right now in our piggy bank $14,805. My recommendation is that we we did not put this money in the budget for fiscal year '25, and that's why I'm recommending a budget amendment so that we can provide this money to this nonprofit so they can help those who have challenges with drug addiction.
So in short, it's being added, and then we're going to turn around and donate it towards the cost.
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay.
Other questions? Would anybody else like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none, Mr. Najumian,
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel.
Yes.
Ms. Alley.
Yes.
Mr. Donahue.
Yes.
And Mr. Stoffer.
Yes.
Let's move down to, I'm gonna call it this time, budget amendment, City Hall roof repairs ordinance 25-01-03.
An ordinance adopting the amended final budget changes for the city of Niceville for fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024. An ordinance adopting and approving the appropriations set forth in said budget of the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll
And-
second.
And a second by Mr. Schatzel. All right, discussion by the council, and if there's none, I'll see if Mr. Deitch wants to elaborate.
So council, in the fiscal year 2025 budget, we allotted $7,500 for routine maintenance of our facilities here at the complex. Unfortunately, in November, was it October or November, Jonathan? November, when we had a big rainstorm come through, this facility, this room, in the room, the tile side turned into a sieve and was leaking everywhere. And we went out and got some quotes. It's going to, excuse me, cost somewhere between $55,000 and $60,000 to repair the roof of this facility. Obviously, which is actually way more than the $7,500 that I had budgeted. And so I'm requesting a budget amendment to cover those costs of the facility repairs for the roof of this facility.
I have a follow-on question, then, Mr. Dice. You have the estimates. Are we going to go out or select one of those estimates for a bid, or are we going to do it in-house?
If I recall, didn't we make a change where unless it's a certain dollar amount, that they don't have to do a bid?
So we're working with Coastal Roofing. We can't offer a state contract. We have two more, Superior and one other company that would be piggybacking off of the county. I would assume from past dealings with piggybacking off the county, that price would be a lot higher than what Coastal has already given us in a price for the senior center on that we gotta do. So Superior came yesterday and looked at it, haven't got a quote back yet. We'll get all the quotes back. I'll get Mr. Deitch and hopefully come before y'all, and even if the piggyback price is higher, I feel like we can do it for cheaper with a local company in Coastal. So we'll not be done in-house.
And council, we're estimating it's going to be about $55,000. Like Jonathan said, we haven't got all the quotes yet, but based on the cost of repairing the senior center, the square footage of the roof of the senior center, we're estimating approximately $55,000 to repair the roof here.
Ms. Alley, you have a question?
I do. This is just for my education, of why we chose to do a budget amendment as opposed to taking money out of reserves.
Well, either way you do, we did not budget for this money to be spent in this manner. So whether it comes out of reserve, regardless of where it comes out of, where the money comes from, I was not granted approval to spend this $55,000.
I understand that we need to approve the expenditure. I just was wondering, is this the way that we will be handling these kind of things that are not budgeted? Because this is not the way we've done it in the past.
I hope not. Excuse me. I hope not. Again, this I'm hoping is going to be a one-off because we did budget for facility repairs, but not to this extent.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions by the council? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none, Mr. Najumian,
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel.
Yes.
Ms. Alley,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
and Mr. Stoffer.
Yes.
Let's move over to public camping ordinance, ordinance number 25-01-01.
An ordinance of the City of Niceville, Florida, creating and amending the following sections of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Niceville, creating Section 17-4 of Chapter 17, titled Prohibition of Public Camping or Sleeping Within City Buildings or its Grounds, creating Section 17-5 of Chapter 17, titled Prohibition of Public Camping or Sleeping on City Streets, Sidewalks, Right-of-Ways, Parks, or other public ways, amending Section 13-10, Chapter 13, eliminating public camping, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Mr. Donahue. Mr. Deitch, before I ask the council, do you have anything you want to elaborate here?
Council, these ordinances are just, I'm recommending that be put into place so that we come in compliance with Florida statutes. Last legislative session, or I don't know if it was the last legislative session, but the state of Florida passed some legislation prohibiting public camping, and it made it possible that we could be sued civilly by businesses or residents if we allow people to camp on the streets, public property, sidewalks, things of that nature. So this ordinance just gets us in compliance with Florida law.
Are these words reflective of what's been passed by other communities?
Yes, sir. The language in the ordinance, it's plagiarized from the ordinance that Okaloosa County passed, and it's plagiarized straight out of the Florida statute.
Yeah, let me say that in a more positive sense. Is this language consistent with higher?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
We still,
All right. Questions or,
I like to think of it as I didn't reinvent the wheel.
Yes,
there you go.
good.
Discussion by the council. Questions? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none. Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
All right, let's move down to, I guess, the public hearings here. City Charter Amendment, Ordinance 24-12-02.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 22-08-02 dated August 16th, 2022. City of Niceville Charter Amendment, Section 3.07 pertaining to the filling of city council vacancies, allowing the mayor to vote in case of a tie vote, amending Section 6.11, eliminating the residency requirement for the City of Niceville City Clerk, and providing for an initiative and referendum, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second,
And a second. Discussion by the council.
Yes.
Mr. Schatz?
Last month, we had 3 items in this ordinance. This month, we have 2. Last month, it was said that these were stacked or bundled, depending on what language you wanted to use, and it was broken apart. And I would like this to be broken apart, which will mean that the second and the first motion should be modified to have each one of these sections addressed individually. And I can tell you why, if you want to know, but I will tell you why I think it's important when we break them apart.
So, Mr. Schatzel is requesting the individuals who made the motion to approve and who seconded, if they would withdraw and then request that we make these separate ordinances. Is that my understanding?
Part A and Part B.
All right.
I have a question.
I do too.
If we do that, does it have to then come back for a final reading? And when do we have to pass this in order for it to get on the ballot?
We have to pass it at this meeting, ma'am.
Okay, and if we break it apart and, because it wasn't noticed that way, does that mean that we would have to bring it back for another reading?
Go ahead, Mr. Hall.
The distinction is that we were at first reading last meeting,
Right.
and we're allowed a little more leeway in terms of the way that we address a first reading ordinance. We can remove things that were advertised, we can't add things that were not advertised. So what the council did was remove a portion of that first reading ordinance. We're now at second reading, which is, it means that you are looking yet once again at what you approved at the last meeting. If you break this up on second reading, it will go back to first reading again. If you amend it substantially, it will take it back to a first reading status.
Mr. Hall, the meeting minutes reflect that it was addressed in two separate parts, and both parts that were addressed were voted on separately. And the one passed 5-0, and the other section passed 4-0.
And what you have before you tonight on second reading is the ordinance language which the board approved at the first reading. It's the language that was approved, consolidated as we were instructed to do at the last meeting.
No, I think the language is the same as the first reading with that one section removed.
That's correct. That's what the council approved. Can I throw something in there? So what I remember is we had 3 together. He wanted 1 removed and voted on separately. I wanted 1 removed and voted on separately. So when we removed each one, is that not 2 separate entities? And I don't care whether it's removed or not, other than my question is going to be, after, let me go ahead there first, is if it goes on the ballot, does it go together? They vote up or down, both of them together, the way that it's written now? No. The ballot language that's included is what will be presented for approval. There are 2 separate provisions if you look in the ordinance.
And Councilman, I don't think we put the actual ballot language in here. There's an actual ballot, but I don't know if we put it in your book or not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's what I was looking at earlier today, was the ballot language.
Yes, sir.
So is it 2 ballot items?
It's
They'll
2
vote
ballot
on-
items.
Okay, my apology. No, man, that's what I'm looking at, the language for the ballot, and it presents it as 2 separate items to be voted on. Yay or nay.
It's 2 different referendums.
Okay. And that's, then they could vote for one and not the other, and vice
Correct.
versa. If you put them both together, and they look at it and go, I don't like part of it, they
No,
vote
sir.
it down.
It's two separate referendums that the electorate will be voting on.
So-
Two
and I've heard
separate
that ballot
questions.
form. Okay,
2 separate questions.
all right, good.
So, Mr. Schatzel?
Unfortunately, this started off being stacked, and hopefully in the future we won't take that
Yes,
process.
sir.
But I feel strongly against one of these sections, and I wanted to discuss this in front of City Council. And this is, per our city charter, Niceville is a council manager form of city government, and the mayor is the figurehead of the city and presides over meetings and other duties as he may have representing the city. Where this is out of cycle, where an out-of-cycle vacancy that has to be filled occurs, some municipalities do hold special elections yet. As Niceville has done in the past, it got changed about 2 years ago in our charter. And some municipalities have their mayors select their recipients. And the third is that some municipalities do fill a vacancy by, as we did in the last one, last April, a coin toss, a roll of dice, or card pull from a deck, or other method. Last April, Niceville had to fill a council seat vacancy when Councilman Abner Williams resigned in January 2024. The Niceville Charter Review Guidelines were accepted, and it was settled by the council selection, resulting in a tie vote. You all remember this, a tie vote, and then subsequently settled by a coin toss. In my opinion, as it turned out, both individuals seeking this position were excellent candidates, and with a coin toss, either candidate could have the same likelihood of being selected. Either candidate could have the same likelihood of being selected. By not having the mayor involved in the selection, it does eliminate any biases that the mayor may have had. In other words, there was total impartiality in the selection of this candidate. You got lucky, Doug Tolbert was unlucky in the coin toss. If this proposed ordinance continues to go forward and is on the ballot in March, with the mayor being the tiebreaker in a unique situation like this, and the voting citizens of Niceville approve it, then the mayor could potentially be placed in a sunshine violation situation if he discusses his council vacancy position with other sitting council members. He would certainly show his partiality for one candidate over the other if it came to a tie-breaking vote. And lastly, the selected candidate would not be elected by the constituents of the city of Niceville. So I encourage us to think twice before we vote on this and what consequences it may have in the future when we already have a system in place where the voters have approved, and it has proven to work. And that's what I say. And this is on and it's nothing against our mayor, but you're putting an onus on him by having the option or having him in writing to do this if a tie vote occurs again.
Any other discussion by council?
Yes. So, right now, we have to vote both together the way they are, yea or nay, correct? Or, no, because it's second reading.
You could, the mayor could entertain a motion to amend the ordinance that's before you,
Okay.
to amend the language. The question, in terms of what gets amended, would determine whether or not it moves back to first reading.
Okay.
But you're free to amend at second reading as well.
Okay. And I don't want to amend, I just wanted clarification. But to me, you're saying that it would put the onus on the mayor, basically the onus is on the city council to show their biases. That's the way it is. If you vote one way, you're biased that way. If you vote another way, you're biased that way. And to say that the mayor is not able to have his personal understanding of the people and make a vote that way, and that he's going to be breaking the sunshine laws, he won't, because this one particular thing, he cannot talk to anybody on the city council prior to that vote taking place. So there is no sunshine law violation potential unless we, knowing that he could be a tie-breaking vote, go to him or he goes to us. I'm never going to do that. I would rather it be the mayor knowing what he knows about the city, the people he knows in the city, breaking the tie vote, and that's why I would like to see it changed. Even though I was the recipient of the coin flip, and by the way, it isn't 50-50, they've done statistical analysis, it's 50.9 to 49.1 is actually the statistical analysis on how it turns out, depending on how it is at the beginning. Just so you know, it's not 50-50. Just a technicality.
Okay, I'd like to go back to our council seat call. So do we keep it like it is, and it's either a yes vote or a no vote? Because this is bundled, or it's stacked, depending on which way you look at it.
There's a motion on the table.
There is a motion and a second.
Just on the question on point, again, if the mayor can entertain a motion to amend this ordinance as presented, to change any of the language which is included, whether it's one of the two sections, whether it's any other language that you want to change. If there's a second and the council votes for that modification, then we'll make a determination on whether it goes back to first reading or whether it can be approved on second reading.
Quick question for you, council. If we were to do that, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we'd have to withdraw the second and the initial
That's correct.
to do that.
Or amend the current motion.
So, Wendy, I know you wrote down who made the motion and who seconded.
I don't know that you have a substitute motion yet.
No, I know, but I'm just seeing, first of all, if they're going to be willing. If they don't, then we're just spinning our wheels.
Stopper, motioned, and Allison.
Okay. Do either one of you want to withdraw your motion and or second?
Well, it has to come to me first, because I
Yeah.
seconded it.
Sorry.
And no, I'm not.
Okay, and,
No.
okay. All right.
So I'd like to have on the floor a motion to break them apart, like we did last month.
There's already a
Again,
motion on the floor.
I think we already have the motion on the floor, so we have to vote on that before we can do what he's asking.
You have to dispose of the motion on the floor or have it withdrawn.
And so far, it's not withdrawn by the primary motion mover and the second. So I guess we have to have the vote then. So we have clarified that, is that correct? Do we have to have the vote now, right?
I mean, you can have the vote, you're free to have the vote.
Good. Well, let me first of all ask if there's anybody in the audience that wants to come before the council on this issue. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Christopher Saul, 1405 Clary Sage Lane. Is there any Florida state statute that requires sunshine law training for the mayor specifically?
Yes.
Can I mention just a couple of things on flipping the coin situation? What that did, while we were appointing somebody by flipping the coin, that saved the city about $5,000. Otherwise, they'd have a special election. Also, there's no more runoff elections. We eliminated that. So in other words, the high vote against it. So we saved $5,000 in 2 cases. So whether that plays in what it's going to do here, I don't think it does. But
No, it doesn't.
So would a tie-breaking vote by the mayor. It also prevents those things from happening, so.
Right.
It's not germane.
Okay. Anybody else want to come before the council on this issue? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Doug Tolbert, 709 Mulligan Run. The recipient of the lost coin flip, got that out of the way. I think there'd be merit to your argument, Mr. Satchel, if it was, say, the city manager, an unelected position, breaking the tie. You said the residents of the city were not, were being excluded. They weren't. The mayor was elected also. You didn't elect the mayor was elected separately. So allowing him to be a tiebreaker is probably a much better choice than flipping a coin, in my opinion.
Would anybody else like to come before the council on this issue? So unless there's further discussion by the council, we're at a point where we're ready to vote. And so I will start with Mr. Stouffer,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Miss Alley,
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel,
I'm gonna say no, but
And-
it's still bundled.
and Mr. Najumian.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Schatzel, is there anything that you want to do at this point in time?
Well, I think it would be useless because the motion has already been, on this ordinance, has already been seconded and passed. So to have a request by city council to consider breaking it apart and debundling it, or whatever term you want to use, is probably a waste of time.
All right, thank you. So with that said, let's move down to reports.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. I've got a couple of things for you. So first off, I want to thank the Lynn and the Parks team who did a fantastic job decorating the complex. It was not done last time we got together. It's done now and looks spectacular. So thank you to Lynn and all the Parks team for the beautiful complex. I want to thank the Rotary for a fantastic parade this past weekend. There were thousands and thousands of people out there. It was an absolutely fantastic parade. So thanks to the Rotary for that. And then finally, I want to thank the community. They were always, there's never a loss of good ideas and recommendations that they get sent to me. But sometimes I get some good ones. And this one is from a young man named Corbin. And Corbin writes to me and says, "My name is Corbin and I'm a student at Rocky Bar Christian School. I ask that you would consider building a sidewalk on Bailey Drive in between Johnson's Parkway and 27th Street. I want you to build the sidewalk because I see many people walking on the side of the street. They might like it. Another reason for the sidewalk would be safety. Safety is important. You could get run over and seriously injured. If you are interested in helping, please contact my teacher." So Mr. Corbin, you'll be pleased to know that our Public Works Director and his team took a look at this, and we will be putting a sidewalk on Bailey Drive between Johnson's Parkway and 27th Street. So thank you for the excellent recommendation that I get from the community all the time. This one was better than most. Finally, I would like, excuse me, I would like to invite the community. We're having Christmas in the complex, or whatever we're calling it, on Friday and Saturday of this week. We're going to have hayrack rides, cocoa, Santa, movies, pony rides, free food, vendors, food trucks here at the complex. We're going to shut this complex down and just have a big old community party, Christmas party, on Friday night and Saturday night. So please, 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 grab the friends, grab the family, grab the neighbors, and come on out and have a good time and celebrate Christmas.
What time's the start time?
5 o'clock
5 o'clock.
on
Till
Friday
when?
and Saturday.
Till when?
5 to 8 on Friday and Saturday.
Thank you.
I do have a question. I was trying to understand the parking because I think we are gonna have some parking issues. I know it's gonna be up there.
Yes, ma'am.
And where's the overflow gonna be?
The-
The school?
Ruckle or up in the complex.
Right.
Okay.
Across the street at Ruckle, over at the church next door.
If you let me know, you can come jump on my hayride and I'll bring you across.
Okay, thank you. I'll text you.
All right, Mr. Knight,
Okay,
who
let's
wants to
see.
go first?
Chief Hayes.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. City Manager. All right. During the month of November, the Niceville Police Department responded to 1,993 calls for police service and assistance. Small breakdown. Includes 42 traffic crash reports were written. That included 80 vehicles and 2 pedestrians. Estimated total damage to vehicles and property amounted to $286,000.72. Officers issued 165 traffic citations and 175 traffic warnings. So we're still being pretty fair out there, about a 50-50 ratio. 10 misdemeanor arrests and 8 felony arrests were made, and an additional DUI was made, DUI arrest. Some of the community initiative events and things that we do that took place since the last meeting. We had movies at the Children's Park that was hosted by the PD. We had High Five Day at St. Paul's. It's where we go out and smack the kids' hands. They enjoyed it. It was a great event. We're getting ready to do our next one Thursday at Rocky Bayou. Myself, Corporal Naples, spoke to second graders at Blue Elementary. That was a very interesting question and answer. A lot of bomb questions. We had the pickleball tournament with the fire department and the police department, and it was hosted by Pounders. Good turnout, good event.
Who won that?
We'll let the firemen say that.
I was wondering why you didn't bring that up.
Yeah. We did a couple tours for homeschool groups at the PD. Obviously, we participated in the parade. I'd like to thank the officers and the employees that blocked traffic and kept us safe during that event. They did a great job, as always. Had a couple traffic meetings, Cocoa with the Cop. That was successful. We collected several large boxes of toys for the organization. And we also helped sponsor the Boy Scout Troops Christmas tree sale out front, which looked to be very successful. And that about wraps that up. I would like to say that we finished the lobby renovations at the PD. Please stop by and take a look at it. We kind of came into a different century with it. Thank you, Jonathan, Philip, for all your help. Did a great job, very responsive and professional as always, as well as their crews. They worked pretty hard on it, and they were just Johnny on the spot and anything he needed. That's all I got.
Questions for the chief?
I just had a comment. One of those crashes was my granddaughter on Highway 20.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's okay.
Anybody else have a question? If not, I have one. So when you give the report about pedestrians involved, are they actually walkers or were they riders?
They are walkers.
Okay.
And these two in particular, one did not involve injuries. It was in a crosswalk. The other one did have injuries in a crosswalk.
Okay. again, another reason for us to have sidewalks, et cetera, so that we can avoid those type of things.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Chief Laird, are you ready? Oh, I guess not.
Chief Laird.
Use their
Me.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. Dykes, Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas to you.
Suez, our tank company, is in town doing maintenance on our two water, well, we got 5, but 2 water tanks this month. We got tank 5, they just finished at the complex. We're working on tank 1 out on Marissa. We're in town doing that. We have replaced the base elbow at lift station number 30 on pump number 1. We have finalized our set of plans for the new force main and reuse line within our 30-foot easement down Rocky Valley Drive. We'll be upgrading that force main from 6 to 16 inch, so that's gonna be a big ordeal. That's gonna be great for our water and sewer team. Most of the materials are here for the Reeves pipeline. We've got all the fittings here. We've unloaded 18 out of 29 trucks, 11 more to go. So, looks like we'll get the bores done. The county looks like maybe hopefully starting in May, get that project going. Update on the Reeves pond. We have built the roadway to the pond. We've drained the pond, or any of his team has drained the pond about as low as we can get it. We'll be meeting out there on Thursday for kind of like a pre-work meeting. And hopefully Green South will be there next week to start getting the sludge out and cleaning up the pond. Only thing we got left to do is build a turnaround down by the pump house so they can get them trucks in and out with the sludge. So that went really well this week. The guys did a great job getting that ready to go. We installed a terminator at lift station 30. It controls the smell of hydrogen sulfide that's coming out of the wet well, pumps air into the wet well, pulls it to the bottom, and pumps it back through in the pump. It's a try and buy. We've already got approval for, so it's working really good. Met with Ernie a couple times, and we really felt like, since COVID of 2019, the sewer system has changed. Meaning there's a lot more species, the diseases. We had 5, 6 guys get sick in lift station 30 a couple weeks ago. It's just a lot of changes to our sewer system that we really need to be looking at in the future to make these guys safe. Ever since COVID, you got all kind of bacteria and everything, it's changing. So we really felt like this is gonna be a big plus. Really moving forward on PPE, our gear, we got everything, but it's just that new aging time where something's going on with the sewer system we can't identify, but something we need to really look forward to in the future coming to keep these guys safe. We had 39 water calls, 29 sewer calls, made 7 water taps, 3 sewer taps, 529 line spots, changed out 20 meters, completed 271 service orders. The head wall repair on Jones Avenue is complete. We have still waiting on pricing for the drainage issue at the intersection of Ronda Drive and Junior Avenue. There's just too many driveways and too much road repair to do, so we're gonna slip line that pipe. Actually, just line it where you don't touch a full of concrete to give us a price on that. Me and Deputy City Manager Michelle met with the residents at 1408 Bayshore. For that outfall blinded over on the shoreline, we're gonna have to get a coastal engineer involved. We got some work to do on that. Me and Michelle are gonna be working on that issue, so we got that upcoming. Have a drainage issue at St. Andrews and Perdido Circle to fix. The drainage issue at Boston Drive off Cedar Avenue is complete. The plans for the Hill Lane Road extension are 100%. I talked to our engineers today. I'm hoping within the January 1st, we'll be able to send that out, documents out for bid, working with James Walters. And hopefully have a bid open sometime in February and get that thing going and get it completed by October. So that's moving along. It's ready to go. Also, sometime I hope by this time, next meeting, I can be able to tell you that we task ordered construction services company for the new multi-use trail coming down Pond Boulevard. This year, we're gonna phase it out. I know Michelle's been working hard going north where we stopped. But this year, we're gonna try to get from Bayshore to Beverly. So we can bring it on a pretty good ways up there. So hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we'll be giving we'll be giving construction services a task order to get started on that project. Been working with Mr. Deitch and Ms. Shell on the plans for the new Miracle League field at Meigs Park. We've been reviewing some of them plans. We're gonna make some modifications to them, meet with the county again on Monday, and I think we're headed in the right direction. We can get something going. The repair of the walk trail on Bay Shore Drive is complete. We did it in-house. We ended up pouring 800 foot, fixing the walk trail. Every day somebody stopped by and said, "How far are you going?" So it turned out really good. The guys did a good job.
Going to Dana Point, correct?
We done. Up there on the sidewalk of Valparaiso Boulevard, we have done everything that the county 2 years ago asked us to do. We have revised plans. We've looked at this thing again, added handrails. This project's turned into not only just a 5 foot sidewalk, but a 5 foot sidewalk and a major drainage improvement. But on behalf of the city of Niceville, we have submitted everything that we agreed to the county to do on this project. Now it's up to them to find the money to construct it. Talked to FPL last week. We signed a contract agreement with FPL about a year and a half, 2 years ago, to have all the street lights in the city of Niceville upgraded to LED. They are at the point where they were ready to start performing the work. It took so long as they did changed out all the street lights on the state highways first. So now they'll be coming into our town, city of Niceville, replacing all our street lights with LED, so that's gonna be really nice. As Mr. Dyke said, I'd like to give a special thanks to our Parks team and Ms. Lynn Walsh for the Christmas decorations again this year. We have started building the mini storage up at the skate park, like I told you last month. We have actually started that project where the wall stood, so I'll be alleviating some storage fees that we're paying around the city. So plan is to hopefully have that done by January 1st when we take Christmas down and move it straight up there. And we're getting quotes for the roof of the senior center. And I would like to give a special thanks to the youth council for another great cleanup. And they did a wonderful job picking up 8 bags of trash. I think Councilman Jimmy does a great job with them kids. And we just really appreciate what they do for Public Works every year. Thank you, sir. Met with Live Oak Fiber this morning. We're getting there. Looking like maybe early May, late May, they'll be the heck out of here. So just updating on that. On November 20th, we had a roadway dedication and for our new East Connector Road and Northern Ridge Road in Deer Moss Creek. We'll be taking over in 2 years. We have a 2-year warranty period on that, but I think Young's Contracting did a great job. They left us the city with a great specimen. Couldn't ask for it. I know a couple of y'all were there, had a really good day, and it really looks good. Be a good addition to the city. And a new bike path from Mr. Dyke, so he likes to read. That went really well. Code compliance, had 18 cases in the month of November, completed 14 of them, and cleaned up 2 areas right across here on Crestview Avenue and Jefferson, that trailer park. So got all that cleaned up and ready to build. Eric Gallegos, can you come forward? What's up? I know you know who this is. So this is Eric Gallegos. He's a 5-year veteran in our Parks Department. He's one of the big common denominators on what goes on out here. Irrigation on our medians, all our parks, spraying weeds, cutting grass, the man does it all. But Eric, I really appreciate what you do for Public Works and our team. And he's our shining penny of the month. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
I have a question.
Eric,
He's not finished yet.
Oh, I thought it was.
No,
I was gonna say Merry Christmas and sit down there. It's been over 3 minutes.
no, you're gonna get a bunch of questions now. Go ahead, Ms. Alley.
The water tank off of Cedar Avenue, is that gonna be repainted?
Cedar?
Yeah.
I looked into that. We did maintenance on it last year, but we never repainted.
Yeah, you used to have, I think, the city seal on it or something, but it's just a plain old tank right now, so I didn't know if there was
We can
anything.
definitely look at with Suez and get a price on it for you.
Any other questions?
You want your picture on it?
Huh?
Want your picture on it?
Jonathan,
Yes, sir.
how far down Bay Shore are you gonna take this sidewalk?
So we stopped right in that driveway, right Rudy, across from Rudy Paul. But we are, future plans working, I know Michelle is looking at it, Mr. Dyke, myself, future plans is to connect everything in Niceville to one big multi-purpose trail, going all the way around Bay Shore, tying into, Crossing Boulevard, and going from there, so we have one big loop. One thing I did forget, I don't know how I missed it, anyway, I missed it, but the county, I talked to Okaloosa County 2 weeks ago, their engineering department, they are 100% complete with the plans for the multi-use path that's going at Palmer College, down College to Forest, Forest to Rocky Valley Drive. They're gonna start bidding process in January and start construction in March.
That's great news.
So,
Any other questions, Mr. Donahue?
No, sir.
Mr. Stoffer?
Valparaiso Boulevard sidewalks, so we did our part.
yeah.
So they had agreement with the city that if you did this, they would do this. Now they have to find the money, I get it.
So what was told to us, they're in agreement, if we did this, submitted the plans, and then they would take it in front of their surtax committee, Carissa Lejeune, and make a decision and see who has money for it.
Okay, so that's the deal at this point?
So they actually have a surtax committee that they gotta get every project they do approved by, so it goes, we did our part, it goes back to the county, hopefully in front of their surtax committee, and they make a decision.
And hopefully with all the engineering done, that'll be the instigator to
Right.
get them to do it.
Right. And also, we also installed like 3 blocks
Right,
on city money, paid almost $40,000.
right.
Any other questions? I have one for you. So you and I have talked about this before, that crosswalk that goes from the school over to the practice fields,
Yes,
are they gonna get a light on that as well?
so they actually called me a week before the last council meeting. They are gonna put lights on it, but, supplies are probably 6, 8 weeks out. So it looks like it's gonna be after the first of the year.
Okay,
But they are gonna light up the crosswalk, and then there's a couple of lights out on the north side of the softball field that they are gonna repair.
okay, I
It's
appreciate
in
that.
the works, they're just waiting on material.
Well, material's always an issue as well as dollars, but in this case, like I said, I know you've been after them and we wanna make sure it's safe for those
And it's
kids.
gonna happen because, Mr. Dykes did sign the contract to add 2 lights.
Good deal. Awesome. All righty. Anybody else got any questions for him? I'm assuming you want Chief Mayville up here now?
I do,
All
I
right.
do. He got a little excited last time.
I know he did. I saw him. He was moving.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, bring you up to date the activities of the fire department. For the month of November, the fire department responded to 177 calls. 2 of those were overdose calls. And checking back with that, they're still doing good. So, and we had 34 fire inspections, with 10 of those were re-inspections and 4 fails. So we had to go back, there were minor violations that were corrected. We're finishing up on the enclave out there, I think we're on building 8 for inspections. Matt's been on that with Alex, pretty heavy. Finished up on, also, went over to the gas company today, quite the sight. We went up on top of the building, you can see the runway all the way into Eglin, and it's top of the trees, so it's quite the sight. Very large facility, so we're over there better part of the morning, walking through the facility and finishing up on other inspections. Crew members, all the schools in and out, doing just numerous things for PR. Football team, swim team, send-offs, constantly in and out. I can't say enough about our community and businesses around here, just unbelievable for what they do for the city of Niceville, and appreciation luncheons and different things we attend, Third Planet, all the different things that we go to down there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Continue to education classes, even the secretary's taking classes. A lot going on there. And police chief, he mentioned pickleball game, right? But I gotta say, he's quite the athlete, him and his wife, so it was a very nice outing. And I wanna mention Sneezer, because, she put on a heck of an event. I was really surprised at the outcome for our Veterans Day parade. What a turnout. And she wore us out on the candy, so Mr. Dyke said buy more for the Christmas parade. A lot of folks and a lot of activities. I can't say enough about all the departments in the city that are continuously doing so many different things. And again, thank you for what you do to support us. Again, thank you. That's all I got.
Questions for the chief?
Chief, thank you for consistently bringing us the statistics on the opioids in the city. Are these calls that you make, are they repeat calls?
A lot of them are. Yes, sir. Would you say, Chief?
Did a budget revision for part of this opioid assistance tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they're, that organization is well aware of, all the issues throughout Okaloosa County, but they do serve all of Okaloosa County. So, but we're in the fight now, providing them the resources they need to help those in need.
Thank you, Chief, and your men for what they do for them.
Any other questions for the chief? Thanks, chief. And Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Building
Okay.
report?
Mr. Doucette, your final deed as the outgoing city clerk.
Do we have a building report?
Do we have a building report? yet?
No, building report's included. Yeah, in your packet, council.
Okay, good deal.
I handed out this information to you before the meeting, that the Prompt Payment Act, the Florida Prompt Payment Act provides for an annual requirement during the month of December to report interest payments concerning city debts paid on time. This is in accordance with 218.78 Florida statutes. I'm happy to report that a total of $20,892,577.16 was paid out last year, and no interest was paid on those expenses. Real proud of that. Just for information, no motion required. The next report is annual accounts receivables, Good accounting practices require that we do not overstate our receivables. As a result, we annually declare our bad debts and remove them from our receivables. We can do that when we estimate the debt will not be paid. We have declared receivables through 2022 as bad debts. We propose to declare receivables for fiscal year ending September 30, 22 as uncollectible. We billed $20,726,106.93 in FY22 and received $12,698,102.50, which leaves $28,004.43, representing a .002200 bad debt rate. We do have a collection agency we use to collect past due amounts. If customers move and they do not pay their final bills after a reasonable period of time, we follow up on them. Then we turn it over to the collection agency. I requested council approve writing off this requested amount. Last year it was $39,279.45, so it's $11,275.02 less than this year.
So we need a motion on that?
Yes, please.
I have a motion to approve the declaration of bad debts through September 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
And a second. Discussion by the council.
I do have so we collected $12,698,000 of the $12,726,000. So we're assuming that $28,000 is bad debt. We still try to collect it if they move, right?
Yes.
But we go ahead and write it off as bad debt
Yes, right.
immediately.
Right.
Well, it's been 2 years.
If they rejoin the system.
It was in
Oh, I got
2022.
22,
It's been 2
2022,
years
I missed
already.
that. Okay.
Yeah, you're not gonna,
I thought it was 24.
no. We give them plenty of time.
2 years.
We wait.
Okay.
And if you ever rejoin the system, although we wrote it off, you can pay it before you have another payment open up. So they do a
Good job.
great job in the utility building, that when Mine 600
2/10 of
customers.
1%.
That's a good collection rate.
That's outstanding. I didn't catch the 2022, I just read 24.
Okay, sir, thank you.
So, just a quick story, so everybody knows that, yeah, if they do try to come back in the system, they must pay their debt beforehand. It's kind of like when I was in college, all these guys would get these parking tickets and they would just ignore them until it came time to graduate. When they filed to graduate, they said, oh, by the way, you got this $500 worth of parking tickets, you will pay that or you're not graduating.
There you go.
All right, new business.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
We need to vote.
Did I not vote?
You didn't vote.
Dadgummit. Once again, we got the first and the second, but I didn't vote. All right, Mr. Najumi.
Yes.
And Mr. Schatzler.
Yes.
And Miss Alley.
Yes.
And Mr. Donahue.
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer.
Yes, and I interrupted the thought process.
You did.
It was.
You did. But I was rolling with it, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so we got it voted. Now then, I guess we have a request authorization to issue an RFP. Do you want to talk to that, referencing the Old Town Landing Phase 3?
Council, this is a request for your authorization to issue this request for proposals for a developer to build phase 3 of the Old Town Landing. You'll recall that you had this on your agenda when you were sitting as the CRA board. It does have the changes that you recommended at that meeting included, along with all of the purchasing stuff we have to have. There's a revised schedule in there, and the process that we discussed at that CRA board meeting for selection of the developer.
With that said, do I have a motion to approve authorization to issue the RFP?
So moved.
I have a movement from, I'll say Stoffer, and a second from Allen. How's that? Does that work? Okay. Discussion by the council?
I'd just like to say, in paging through this, and I don't have the expertise to understand everything, but it's an extensive RFP. Thank you for doing it.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Would anybody in the audience want to come before the council on this? Seeing none. Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
Miss Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najarian.
Yes.
All right, I'll get ready to do the open forum here, but first let me go with the council and see what they have to say. So we'll start with you, Mr. Najarian.
Jonathan hit already, our Youth Advisory Council was involved in a cleanup last weekend or a couple weekends ago. And they also had some other activities they're planning to include involvement of Twin Cities to help them with some holiday cards and good cheer. Unfortunately, our Youth Advisory Council ended 20 minutes prior to council, and I was going to keep them here just for that. And also, I'd like to try to get that back on the agenda. It used to be a standing item on the agenda for a quick update on Youth Advisory Council. So if you could re-add that, that would be great. Thank you.
Mr. Schatzel?
Okay, last week I had the opportunity to go to a Florida League of Cities Legislative Committee conference, and I was briefed that as of last Friday, there were only 18 bills filed, and there are normally 2,000 to 3,000 bills filed every legislative year. The legislative year doesn't start until March, early March, and it ends in early May. So there's still plenty of time for those legislators to have all the PAC committees and the industries influence them to sponsor a bill. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Two things. So one of the fire department calls was to my house. Carbon monoxide detector went off. We pulled it off the wall. Well, I did. My grandson did because our walls are 12 feet high. Security called. I said, it's just a battery. I got to send the fire department anyway. Here comes the fire department with the lights going and coming and laughing at me. And I go, it's just a carbon, it just needs a battery. I don't have carbon monoxide in my house. But anyway, they were wonderful. I just want to say thank you. So, and then I can't be more proud of our football team. They went down to Lakeland, hard fought battle. We were the underdogs, 3 overtimes. And, you know, everybody down there said that our guy did cross lost the plane on that 2-point conversion, and it was not called. But anyway, they worked their butts off. They played hard. It was a hard season, and I'm just very proud of our boys, our football team, and Niceville residents who went down there. Great representation of Niceville, and very courteous, and anyway, I just wanted to publicly say that I'm so very proud of our football team.
Awesome. Anything else?
That's it.
No, sir.
Nothing? Mr. Stoffer?
Yeah, I just want to say, decorations look great, amazing. The Rotary Christmas parade was phenomenal. Thank you, Shanitra. I had enough candy, I just threw too much too early. I mean, she gave me a bag like this, and then I had another bag that the driver had, and I'm like just throwing it out, and I get about 2/3, 3/4 the way through, and I got nothing. I'm digging off the floor in this car you can't bend over in. So anyway, I ran out on my own fault. The Ruckel Cafeteria, you may mention that, but boy, that's amazing. We were there today for the ribbon cutting. I want to remind everybody, second Wednesday breakfast, Church on Bay Shore tomorrow. If you go over here, you'll be in the wrong spot. And that's about it.
The council has covered things pretty well as far as what's coming up. I personally want to thank our staff, our city manager, and this council for what they do. I also want to say that we've had some really great things happen. The Veterans Day Parade was awesome. The Christmas Parade was awesome. We have a great football team at our high school. And high school not only does football, but it's quite the academic powerhouse as well. Same thing with Ruckel. And of course, the other aspect of all this is there's a lot of things happening, and they happen to make this city better. And I just want you to know that you have to rate the city and Niceville and help this publicly for all they do. Merry Christmas. With that said, I will now open it up to the citizens to come forward. Let me just spell out a couple quick ground rules. You get 3 minutes. I always tell you, get to your point quickly, because I will cut you off at 3 minutes. We are in a receive mode. And with that said, I ask anybody that wants to come forward, again, state your name and address for the record. So I'll open it up now. Would anybody like to come forward and address the council on any issue? Wow.
That threat.
You have a reattack, all right? Since I'll hold it for just a few seconds, let you think about it. Go ahead, Mr. Najumi.
Did we come to resolution on whether or not there's going to be a council meeting on March 11th? Because that's also the election day. And we were trying to debate whether or not it would be this seated council, or we wouldn't do it. We talked about potentially moving up a week. Where are we on all that?
Council, my recommendation is we have the city council meeting, because if the election is that day, we're not going to have the results by the time that this meeting is held. And so that there wouldn't be, the new council wouldn't be sworn in until April, right?
Yeah, the meeting is gonna happen before we can,
Okay, but it's also used, so the other side is the election's going to be happening.
No.
It's not. We're over there.
it's gonna be over in the,
Community center.
Okay. Okay, so there is.
Yeah, there's no conflicts.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, that's good.
Well, picking up on that, thank you for mentioning it, but it's incumbent upon the remaining council people to be here that night, or else we don't have a quorum.
No, that's
Well, we're saying we're still in.
We're still in.
Now, this
Yeah,
body will still
Carl
be.
and I are still seated on
Right.
that day. That's
Right.
all, that's the resolution we were just looking for.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Understand.
Okay. Now that we got that resolved, is there anybody out there in the audience who wants to come before the council on any issue?
Mayor, just one more thing I failed to mention. The airport tomorrow has a large exercise with all the emergency responders and the base. So General Bond's going to be a little busy. So I don't think the main highway shut down, but General Bond will be, and around the airport, there's a lot of activity going on with all the fire and police and different agencies. So you might want to avoid that area.
That's a good reminder, and I know that that was put out there for our PIO. Shanitra, are we gonna put something out again as a quick reminder?
I can repost for Magdalene.
Thanks.
Tommy, what time is that?
Started at
8
8
o'clock.
o'clock.
8 o'clock? Okay.
Will there be any trouble getting on base?
Say it.
Will there be any trouble getting on base?
If you don't have an ID, yeah.
No, there won't be no problem.
Man, if you go through the gate on the Valley East side, you should be okay.
Okay, you know, to me, I've opened up to the citizens and I get counsel that's throwing things out. So go ahead, Mr. Stopper, what?
I just want to say, whoever decided to do this, thank you. This is much better than the big black binder. Thank you for printing it in advance. Just let us know when it's ready. I'll be up here as are others. I don't know if you guys come up early and take them home, but boy, what a tremendous asset. So thank you for that. Thank you, who? Yes. Chief Shell, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna, just to make sure that nobody gets cut out, anybody want to come before the council on any issue? Seeing none, do I have a motion do we need to make a motion to pay the bills?
Already did it, sir.
Okay, I want to make sure I had it squared away.
It was in the
It was in the
Consent agenda.
consent. Again, I'm getting used to it, you know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure I didn't miss it, just like I missed the vote almost, okay?
We'll keep you straight.
All right, appreciate it. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second. Third.
Let's consider ourselves adjourned.